Week one, Elijah Mitchell goes down before the end of the first half, and football's a viciously violent game, Coach. You lose your quarterback before the end of the first quarter of the home opener, and all positions are tough. When you lose your quarterback in the middle of a game, middle of a series like that, how do you react?
It's different. I mean, it's a weird feeling for our whole team. I'm sure the stadium has a weird feeling just seeing it, especially when you can see visually that his ankle's not there and that you know it's going to be a year deal. Whenever guys are down, and even if they go off on a cart and stuff, you still have hope that hopefully the x-rays or MRIs won't be as bad. But when you can see his ankle the way it was tough. To go out there, go through that, I mean, and our players, I mean, just seeing some of those guys when I walk out to the field before I get there, you can tell they're all shook up. I've been in a few situations like that before. And it's tough for the guys to get back going, but it happens so fast, and you have to, that the game does pick up again, and you get lost in the game because so much goes on. But right when that game ends and you come in that locker room, it's right back, and it's a different feeling because everyone's so happy with the win. But you come in there and quickly you get that reminder of what happened, and you kind of get it for the next few days. So it's a little rough on us.
He had surgery Monday morning. How are his spirits? Do you reach out to him? Do guys reach out to him? And then I remember when Jimmy tore his ACL in 2018, your dad came out here and kind of worked with him a little bit. What's the plan to rehab him, not just physically, but to get mental reps, to be around the team and to learn your offense?
He'll be in every single meeting. I mean, it'll be the same as what he's been doing. He just can't go on the field and do stuff. We'll see if when we get to December or something, if we want to get creative with anything. But, I mean, he's already texted me the night he got out of surgery asking if he can go to the game this week. And I'm like, of course you can, but I don't know if he'll be medically allowed to fly yet, which he can't this week. We got to give him another week. And I know we're at home versus the Rams next week, but after that, he'll join us on everything. He'll be a part of everything and go through the process, preparing like he's playing, so he can get used to the game plans. Everything he did in the first year, just can't get out on that field.
So Jimmy comes in, he jumps into a third down. They send some pressure. He throws short to Ayuk, but then he hits his first 5. He hits Ray on third down, Dwelly touchdown, the deep, back shoulder of Ayuk that Brandon dropped. It looked like he's been here the whole time, and he wasn't here the offseason. He didn't do anything in August in training camp. Because of the fact he's been here with you for 4.5 years, was it that allowed him to just jump right in and look like Jimmy Garoppolo?
Well, yeah, Jimmy's a really good player. So, I mean, he gets to come in, and, I mean, he played like Jimmy, which is very good. But, we had a plan with all that stuff. I mean, I don't think I got off the openers. You go to the third down plays like the one Ayuk. That was Trey's top third down call in that situation. I go through it with all 3 of the quarterbacks the night before the game. I label it all on my sheet what their top 3 calls are. I do one quarterback by numbers, the next one by letters, another one by dots, so I can know what each one thinks. And you got an idea of the order you're going to go in, and they both like that play, and I like that play, so I stuck with it. And same with the touchdown to Dwelly. That was part of the openers. Jimmy did a great job being prepared. I think he had that preparation in New England. Always never know when you're going to get up, and he treated it the same way here this week. And unfortunately, he got up right away, but I was glad that it was him because when he did come in, he gave us a chance to win.
You ran the ball great, just like you did in Chicago, but it's different. With Trey, you're about 27% Trey under center. With Jimmy, it was exactly 50%, 30 of 60 snaps. So how does that change the angle? I know you're big on angles and getting an edge. When the quarterback is under center on the outside zone, on the inside zone, on the gap stuff inside, how does it change the running game when the quarterback's under center versus shotgun or pistol?
I mean, it depends what runs you're doing, but I mean, yeah, it can change the angle, especially with zone, just being a little bit behind the play. That's why I believe in pistol so much, because once you get in pistol, I don't think it changes the angles, and you still have the threat of the quarterback running. The only thing when you're in gun, that's the only time the quarterback can be a threat as a run. If you're under center doing run game, then the quarterback's a threat and what we call keepers. I think most people probably call them bootlegs, which is the same principle as zone read. It's just not happening at the guy right away. But we build our offense so much that we can do pretty much anything in shotgun or under center. But when you have a running quarterback and you get him under center, that's when the defense says thank you. They're like, all right, we can eliminate all that stuff and now just play normal defense. And so that's why when you got a guy who's a threat to run, you always want him to make the defense think about that. So there's a couple other things that make him hesitate.
With the injury to Elijah Mitchell in week 1, Jeff Wilson Jr. moved up, and he was just great. He ran so hard the entire game. Ty Davis Price was good for you, but now he's got a high ankle. So J.P. Mason, I assume, will be in the mix. But Marlon Mack, former 1,000-yard runner with the Colts, 900 yards the year before, Achilles injury in 2020. He'll wear number 23 in the game on Sunday. Does he look like Marlon Mack to you back in blue with the Colts?
Well, he got a lot more reps this week, and especially on Thursday where we do our team run and stuff. We threw him in there a lot more this week than we did last week because he is going to be up. We got 3 guys. We were fortunate to have Tevin Coleman out there, so we got Tevin in this week, which has been great to have him back. He'll probably be up sooner than later. It's a little tough in Denver with altitude and stuff and some of the things that he has. But I think Marlon is ready to go. He's had a good week of practice. We'll see how we use him. Jeff's still our guy. It was really unfortunate to lose Ty. I mean, what a soldier he was. He did it on the 15th play and didn't even realize it, and played the whole game. Just thought he was sore, didn't even get treatment that night, and came in the next day complaining about it. And he has a high ankle sprain, which is a big deal. So hopefully that'll heal good. We'll get him back in about a month. And hopefully these guys can help us weather the storm until we get him and Elijah back.
You mentioned the altitude. When you land at the airport there, when you go in the stadium, 5,280 feet, they just keep beating it in your brain. You grew up there. You went to high school and your dad was coaching there. So living there, what it can do for your lungs. But when you come in as an opponent, do you rep guys differently? The backs have to rotate more? Do the D-line have to come in and out more to deal with the altitude?
Possibly. It is real. I mean, they're going to make it a bigger deal than it is. That's why they put it everywhere to try to get in your head. But it's a fact, and I've personally felt it a lot. I mean, just going there, being in college and going home, it feels different running up the stairs. Your lungs feel a little bit different. And I think it's important to guys that you have the oxygen tanks there. You do all stuff like that on the sideline. Some guys won't feel it much. I mean, some of the best things is that we're only going for 2 days. When you go for a week, usually they say it hits like the 7th day the worst. So hopefully it won't affect us. I know some guys are worse than others, but when guys are struggling, that's why you got to understand why they're not ready, and the next man's got to be up.
And you got a game in Mexico City later in the year that's 1.5 miles above sea level. You go to Colorado Springs to get ready for that. But you got so much depth on the D-line. If you have to rotate them, you'll be fine. But just a word about the overall defense. I asked you before the season started, is this the best defense you've had? And you said, well, let's just watch them play. First 2 weeks, Coach, they've been great. The penalties, obviously, in Chicago, you mitigated that from 12 to 1. And you would have had a shutout if it wasn't for the blocked field goal. So 8 quarters in, what are you seeing from your D?
I think they're doing what we expected them to do. I mean, they got a chance to be real good. They've played at a high level these 2 weeks, but by no means have we arrived. I mean, we got a big challenge this week. I think we're going against some more talent in some key areas. These running backs are very good. Everyone knows about the quarterback. They got some good receivers. They got a good O-line. They got a good O-line scheme too. So I know they haven't put up a lot of points yet, but they've been real short on a couple things, and we know we got our work cut out for us.
What are you seeing from Russell specifically? Did he bring the Seattle offense to Denver? Is it a hybrid with Green Bay? What are you seeing from this offense?
Yeah, I see a little more. I see more Green Bay than Seattle. A mixture. They do a lot of similar stuff that we do. Their line scheme and everything. They having Butch, who was our number 2 line coach here last year, as their coach. So there are some similarities with that, but I do see more Green Bay than Seattle. They're spreading it around more. Russ has made some big plays already. Hasn't done much with his legs yet, but he's done it with his arm, and it's a matter of time. I've seen that way too many times in the last decade, so I want to make sure we don't see it this Sunday.
Yeah, the one commonality with Seattle is a hulking wide receiver. They got DK Metcalf in Seattle, and this young guy, Cortland Sutton, man, he is so long and angular. They love to throw the fade route to him. What's the challenge with dealing with this guy?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his. I mean, he had talent coming out of college, and he's really showed that he's a player in this league. He's got the size and the ability, but he plays very aggressive too. He's tough. He's not scared to go over the middle. I like our corners, so our corners can match up, just like I thought they did a good job with DK last week. But it is the same type of challenge, and you can't go to sleep because he is that good.
The running backs, Javonte Williams, good back. Melvin Gordon's been in the league for a while. Is it similar to the Green Bay outside zone running game that you're familiar with?
It's similar. I think it looks very similar to ours.
Yeah.
And I think Williams is doing as good as anyone. He is tough to bring down, runs extremely hard. Melvin's done it for a while too, so it's as good of a 1-2 punch. Best one we faced this year so far, and that's not taken away from the other teams because I thought they had some real good backs too.
Another 3-4 defensive front, and they got the outside guys, Bradley Chubb, and obviously Randy Gregory we saw last year in Dallas. He's the one that threw Jimmy down and hurt his shoulder. And then the guy in the middle, wearing Nick Bosa's number 97. You got DJ Jones in there wreaking havoc, and K'Wan Williams, your guy, the Shark. So what do you see from this Denver D?
I mean, it's a very similar scheme to what we played last week with Seattle. I mean, it's kind of a real popular scheme that's been going on. We're going to have this, and we have it 8 times this year. We have it 3 weeks in a row. It's the same scheme that LA does. That's where their coordinator came from. He's been there the last 5 years. So we have a good idea of what it does. It's always a challenge. Really good edge rushers, and DJ and K'Wan. I think they're 2 of their better players over there. They're 2 guys we didn't want to lose. Love both of those guys as people. Love them as players. But hopefully we can get after them on Sunday.
You're going back to Denver, where your dad is in the Ring of Honor there. You were there a couple of years ago to see it happen. 2-time Super Bowl champion. When you think of Denver Broncos, what comes to mind for you, Coach?
I just think of growing up. I mean, it was such a big part of my family growing up, and it used to be a big deal when I went to Denver, mainly when I worked for my dad. It was always something that I took personal. I wanted to do it for my dad. But when I think of Denver, I think of my dad. I don't really think much of me. So I've been there a number of times since Washington without working for my dad, and been there when I went in Atlanta. I've been there here in San Francisco for the preseason, and really when I get in there, it is just another game. I always took it a little more personal when my dad was there, because that was after he got fired, and I always wanted to get him back.
It's the new Mile High. This place opened in 2002. You remember the old one?
Oh, yeah.
Where they'd stomp their feet. It looked like felt like the stadium was going to fall down. The old Mile High.
Yeah. No, I'm glad we're not in that one. That one was a lot louder. This one's still loud, but the old one was louder.
And your mom and dad will be here for the game on Sunday?
Yes, they'll be there.
Get a win. Get to 2-1, Coach.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.